Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by apologizing. I was never able to put up that review video yesterday. I just ran out of time, but I will be doing it today because it is a very nifty duo that I'm going to go ahead and review for you all. And before we started with today's news, of which I have a good amount to go over with you all, I wanted to answer a couple of questions from one of our, I believe it was yesterday's video or maybe the day before. But the first question was, AAP, that quilt in the background, did your wife make that? Ladies and gentlemen, no, I did not. You probably noticed that quilt that was sitting on the couch on the video that I did that was kind of like a show and tell video. And that quilt, ladies and gentlemen, was made by one of you all, by one of the AP community members. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out her name. Her name is Delane, and she is out of California, so California. And she made me that a long time ago. And when I first got that quilt, I had no idea what it was. I was like, oh, cool, this is a nice quilt. And my wife's like, hey, do you know that that's like a 400-hour quilt? And I'm like, what does that mean? The person that made that by hand, and it probably took them about 400 hours to make it. That's how detailed it is. And as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful quilt, and I've been using it more and more over the years. And I have to show you the opposite side of what you're seeing now, because if not, I'll get in trouble. Because this side right here, not to me because I don't have a trained eye, but this is the side that the creator of this quilt, Delane, is most proud of. And this sign represents some of my heritage coming back from the Dominican Republic. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where this quilt came from, and it is beautiful, and I still treasure it to this day. I don't use it that much, but I do like to use it in the winter every once in a while to go ahead and use it as a throw. Now the second question that I was asked was that someone here in Alaska tried to purchase an Oupes Mega 3 on the sale that they are having, and that they were not allowed to check out because they did not ship to Alaska. I am inquiring about this as we speak, because last that I knew, you were able to buy an Oupes and have it shipped to Alaska. It just cost an extra charge for shipping. So I've contacted my representative at Oupes, and hopefully here within the next few hours or the next day or so, they'll let me know, and we'll figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. Having said that, before I even start, I might as well go ahead and plug in Oupes. They're having an awesome sale on a newcomer, which is called the Oupes Mega 3, and it's at a great price. Oupes is offering a 30% rebate, or not rebate, but a discount. You get it right at checkout. And in addition to that, you can use my 10% discount coupon code at the same time. So you're getting it for about 40% off, if not a tiny bit more than 40% off after those rack up on top of each other. So go check that out if you're in the market for a solar generator, and I will get back to you all on the Alaska thing, whether they're shipping it to Alaska now or not. I know they used to be able to, but maybe they just stopped and forgot to tell me. Now, let's get on with today's news, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to cover. The next phase of the globalist takeover, ladies and gentlemen, is that they push us into a CBDC and also a digital ID. Why is that? Because that's the only way that they're going to be able to control us fully. We have entered a time into our history, at least here in the Western nations, and especially in the United States of America, where fiat currency is devaluing at such a rate that they're not going to be able to hold on to this system for much longer. What's the only way that they can stay in control? It's going to be by controlling the money, just like they have with a fiat currency. For those of you that don't understand this, whenever a government controls the money, the government has the power. Whenever the people have control of the money, it is the people that have the power. And that is why the government had to take God's money and make it their own. I.e., they had to abandon the gold standard and silver standard and go ahead and create their own fiat currency, which is nothing but paper, and they know it. And it is going down, and we are going to have to get ready for this so that we can resist that next system that they want us to enter into, which will, if you haven't heard yet, totally enslave humanity. Remember, I'll say this again, more than 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. If you were being told, put yourself in this place. If you were being told, hey, listen, if you don't switch over to the CBDC, you're not going to be able to get your job back, right? Because we created this crisis where you have to stay home. You're going to get kicked out of your house. Your family is not going to know where their next meal is coming from. So if you get onto the CBDC, now that you're in despair, ladies and gentlemen, That's where they have to put the American people in despair. Right? They have to be hopeless and say, okay, I don't have any other choice. I have to take it. They're going to say, once you take this CBDC and this social credit score that will come along with it, everything's going to be all right. And everything will be all right for a little bit. And then you're going to see the changes where the monster turns into an even bigger monster. It'll turn into like a 7-headed monster, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to happen because the people will vote for it, because they will be in despair. Why is that? Because most people are not prepared. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I stand by, is what they will use in order to try to throw us into the new system that they've already got planned for us. The U.S. is in the throes of total financial collapse, right? And there's a video here that is hosted by the Health Ranger, along with this gentleman here, Mr. Jeffrey Prather. Go check that video out. It's worth watching. And of course, I will leave the link to all of these articles so that you can revisit them. But here it says, there is very little time that remains before the inevitable collapse of the current financial system, aka the Ponzi scheme. And that's exactly what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Ponzi scheme. As soon as we, the slaves, as soon as we, the cattle, stop contributing towards the system collapses. And how do we, the cattle, contribute towards the system? Have you taken a look at your paycheck lately? At your pay stub? Have you seen what percentage of your pay actually goes to fund all of the things that are being used to keep you part of the system? To keep you as one of the spokes in the wheels of the system? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, they take our money via taxes. They spend it how they want so that they can further enslave us and make us pay even more taxes. It's a Ponzi scheme, and we are right in the middle of it. But what the people don't understand is that we have the power, and the 537 or so that are sitting atop of Capitol Hill, they have absolutely no power without us. But they do a great job through propaganda and through the mainstream media, etc., at keeping us separated and divided and fighting amongst each other instead of looking at exactly what it is that's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so stop watching those football games. All right, stop watching all these sports or consuming your life with all of these extracurricular activities that don't bring value to your life. I'm not saying don't live. Have fun. If you want to watch a game here or there, have fun. But dedicate a portion of your time to educating yourself as to how the world really works. Go read that book. What's the name of that book? John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Go read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's a great read, a fast read, and once you start reading it, you're not going to let go of it. All right? That is a great book that will wake you up to ask how the world works. G. Edward Griffith, and that's the Creature from Jekyll Island. I'm senile, all right? But the Creature from Jekyll Island. Go read that book. That is a bit of a drier book, right? It takes a little bit of dedication to read through that book, plus it's a lot bigger, but it will wake you up as to how it is that you are stolen from on a daily basis, and how it is that throughout your working life, throughout the 40 or 50 years that you work in your life, about 70% of every penny that you ever earned is stripped from you via inflation and taxation. Do you like only keeping 30% of what you make? Well, that's what you've been allowed to keep over your working life. Read those books so that they can at least animate you into caring about what it is that goes on behind the scenes. Anyways, I digress. Climate corruption. Most carbon offset projects are scams, new report finds. Do I even have to read this, ladies and gentlemen? How many of you really think that going green is actually going to save the planet? I mean, the ideas that they're coming with are so ridiculous. I read an article not too long where they said that they were going to start cutting down forests, and then they were going to bury the trees in order to capture that carbon and keep it underground. And then they were going to plant new trees so that they can then breathe in more carbon. It's asinine. They are crazy. But there is a bigger plot behind this, and I believe that that bigger plot is to go ahead and strip you of your wealth. Look at how many countries there are nowadays where people can't even afford their electric bill because of these carbon credits and such. Ladies and gentlemen, if by now you don't understand that this green stuff is just a way to impoverish you even further and a way to further divide we the people and have us fighting against each other, then we are in big trouble. Heck, we're in big trouble either way. I think that you ought to really look into this on your own. Do your own research. Take a look independently at how much it costs, i.e. carbon credits or carbon footprint, how much it costs in carbon to build an electric vehicle. Take a look independently on your own. Do we have the resources to replace vehicles that have internal combustion engines with electric vehicles? Do we even have the resources available? I can tell you right now that we don't. But do your own research. Go look at it for yourselves. That way you can convince yourself. Don't let me convince you. I'm just giving you the idea. Hey, do we have enough resources in order to make all of the electric cars that we need in order to exchange them for the internal combustion engines? Go look at that for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll find out very soon that we don't. We don't even have enough silver to make the batteries to be able to make all the electric cars that we would need in order to replace the internal combustion engine cars that we have now. Now, I'm not saying that this is what they're going to use for our next crisis, ladies and gentlemen, but the last one worked so great that, heck, why not? So what do? Prepare yourself. Get prepared. Not just with physical things, but get your mind prepared. Get your knowledge up, ladies and gentlemen. Be willing to say, let me take a look at that before I just do what they say to do. Even me at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, I was being extra careful. I was putting on my mask. I was putting on gloves. I was spraying, the nozzle at the water station with a little bit of bleach water just to make sure everything was good. But then after I went ahead and took those precautions in the very early days and did a little bit of research, I was like, wow. And what did we find? Well, take a look at what's going on now. Take a look at all of the damage that this past health crisis has done to not only our economy, but our society, to our children, and the damage that it is still doing. Go ahead and watch that video that I put up on the insurance companies saying that they had the most cases of death payouts that they ever had in their history. And that it was a 4 sigma event, meaning that an event that happens to increase their deaths by like 10% in 1 year, I think it's called a 1 sigma event. But in 1 year, the deaths increased by 40%, which had never been seen ever in the history of insurance claims. So just take a look at what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And then, would it surprise you that they try to do this again when it worked so well the first time? I'm going to finish it off with this article, ladies and gentlemen. MSM receives billions to fabricate climate crisis for the ruling class. Why would they do that? Because it's all about money. The MSM, they're no longer there for the people. They're there for themselves, and they're there for their overlords that they want to please. Now listen to this. According to a recent article by this person, the monoculture of perspectives on climate change and energy is due to the regular funding received by major media outlets, directly or indirectly, from billionaire foundations and global elites who are steering the world away from fossil fuels. They're not steering the world away from fossil fuels, ladies and gentlemen. Have you taken a look at China and India and see how many coal power plants they're opening on an annual basis? All right, ladies and gentlemen, they're using energy as we're abandoning energy for a dream that will never work. Unless they come out with some kind of a technology that will increase the efficiency of solar panels to where it will be so much more greater than what it is now, it's not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have the resources to make the amount of solar panels that we need in order to power the world, let alone to power the country, really. They aren't doing this for the good of the planet or for the health of humanity. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's hard to control and enslave humans mentally who are not living in a constant state of fear, and that's what it's all about. I remember the comment, and this comment will probably stay with me for a long time. Someone saying, AP, why are you trying to scare people? Why, there's something like that. Why are you scaring people? Why are you always trying to scare people? Seriously? Ladies and gentlemen, seriously? I'm trying to scare you by reporting what's going on? And my return to that comment when I talked about it a few days ago was, did you ask that question of the mainstream media during March of 2020? Did you ask that question of the mainstream media during March of 2021 or 2022? And are you going to ask that same question of the mainstream media when they bring out the next thing that you're supposed to be so afraid of, that will keep you in the house because you'll be afraid to breathe the air? Have you asked them that question? But then you come in and ask me, why am I scaring people? You know, I hope that some people are getting scared, because those are probably the people that are not prepared. And it will at least motivate them to hopefully do a little bit of research and figure out for themselves that they need to get prepared. So in a way, I kind of like hope that some people are getting a little bit scared. Again, because those are more likely the people that are not prepared. And if you're not, ladies and gentlemen, just go get prepared. Don't go to that baseball game. Don't go to that football game. Don't go to the movies for a month. Don't go get that pizza. Make your own, etc., etc., etc. Go get a second job. Get a side hustle. Because so many people use the excuse of, I don't have enough money, so that they don't have to get prepared. Don't use that excuse, because one day you will need your preps. I stand by that. Let me go ahead and let it go. I'm starting to rant here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Oupes does have a huge sale going on for the Mega 3 and the Mega 5 as well. And everything else that's in their lineup, they're giving a 5% off discount code, and it is in the description of my video, so you can go check the link and check the discount codes on the description of my videos. And hopefully you'll be able to get it to Alaska. If they're offering it to Alaska, I will figure that out and I'll let you know later on, maybe tomorrow during our live stream tomorrow. Having said that, let me get out of here. Have a great day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.